Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to episode, I think it's 21 of Might Help, Can't Hurt, Conversations with Leaders, Doers, and Friends. And today I have some leaders, some doers, and a friend. I'm hoping I could ultimately be friends with all of y'all, but I actually know Eric, so I can say that about him. And we're doing this episode as a kind of a special episode in aid of a fundraiser for the One Solution Foundation and Rebels for Peace. And so maybe the best thing to do would be, Eric, would you be willing to kind of say a piece about what One Solution is up to? And to John, I can then ask you to talk about Rebels for Peace. And then, Cambria, you're a nice bridge because I think you've kind of been through both and just start there. So Eric, to make the question a little less generic, why? Why are you doing this? And what is it that you're doing?
So I think One Solution came out of a wish to try to make a difference that made sense to us, like that we really felt strongly about, and one that we felt could stand the test of time. And once we had the question, like, how can we do something that would stand the test of time? Like, we can be doing this 200, 500 years from now. Yeah. We had to make it as big and as generic, but also as universally applicable. Yeah. And then what we thought would be true now and 1,000 years ago is that our mind creates some kind of reality and creates a world based on that reality. That's a very simple way of putting it. So if we look at the world right now, it is a reflection of our collective state of mind. Whatever we are thinking and believing, we are putting out into the world. And we want to kind of put a megaphone on that statement and put let's look at that. Let's look at the mind. Let's look at what unifies us beyond the mind. What's before and behind that process, and just highlight that, because we feel like the world is looking very much on external circumstances, is looking at a lot of things that's very frightening. It's looking at a lot of effects in society. And we wanted to be kind of an organization that had a mission to kind of look behind and look at what is creating all of this. Yeah. And we're willing to move on what we think is creating it. That might change 200 years, but that question will stay the same. Right. Our curiosity of figuring out what is creating the state of the world right now at the deepest source. Right. So that's the direction we're trying to look at as a foundation, and then try our best to find ways to talk about that, show that, do that ourselves, partner with people who feel the same, and try to move the needle on that specific focus.
And to John, I want to read from your website, and you can also say, oh man, right? But it's a website, an insight that you founded Rebels for Peace after an insight about how all the things that seemed unsolvable, like the circle of violence, retaliation, poverty, etc., all actually could be solved if we looked at the mind instead of complaining about what can't be done. Is that a sort of a fair description?
That's 100% true.
So how did the insight come about? How did you see what you saw?
Okay, so I don't know how far you want me to go back.
Well, not before the womb, because then we're getting into medicine, and I just don't know. But as far back as you need to before that.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I went on this field trip for my school, but I didn't go for the reason that the school was going. I went just to get out of school because I just wanted to get out of school and not do no work. So I went on this field trip, and me and my homeboy Zalon, still my friend to this day. We went there and we heard Marvin them talk. We heard the super intended talk. They had food, different type of sections. They had spoken word people, and then they had breakout sessions. So in the breakout sessions, they get like different categories that you can go to talk about that certain topic. So I picked superpower because it seemed cool. You feel me? I ain't know it was gonna be like that. I thought we was gonna be talking about like Marvel characters, Thor and Hulk. Them. I thought we was gonna talk about them, so I picked that.
Now, did you have like a superpower in mind that you were going to choose for yourself? I mean,
Yeah.
Flight, invisibility. What I mean.
Okay, so I like to fly. I mean, I don't like to fly, but I would like to fly. And then for my for like the character, I would have picked Thor because I just love Thor. So Thor or fly was one of the two. And I thought I was gonna go there and talk about that and learn how to create a chemical to make me fly and all this.
So, like, once you got over the disappointment that they were neither going to teach you how to fly or run super fast, what did you hear?
I was like, damn. I heard a lot of stuff that I disagree with, put like that. And I like to debate a lot. I like to debate. So when I disagree with something, I want to challenge it. You feel me? And Mara was going on and on about the mind, and that was the superpower. She was going on and on about it, how we can change our world from the inside on out. We can bring inner peace to ourselves from the inside on out without looking for those external solutions to make ourselves feel better on the inside. And I was calling her bluff, like, you feel me? I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. You feel me? I live in Chicago. This is how we supposed to be. We supposed to be doing this. We supposed to be doing that because this is how the world is. This is no change. This is how we supposed to be.
Yeah.
And she, nah. This ain't how it's supposed to be. You feel me? You can create your own reality from the inside on out. I was like, you feel me? I ain't never tried to do anything from the inside on out. You feel me? Because it's like all the programs and everything up in the schools that I see, they all work from the outside on in. They think the outside world gonna help the person feel better on the inside, so they work from the outside on in.
So they're going to try and change the circumstances, change the environment in hopes that that's going to lead to a better situation.
Yeah, and then that's what I was used to. And like when she brought that new understanding to me, I was like, you feel, maybe she is on to something. You feel, maybe she got something going on. Maybe she right about a few things. But then something just clicked into me. You feel me? It was just like I got touched by a genie or something. You feel me? Like I'm like, damn, this can be a possibility. You feel me? I can't be the change that I want to see in the world. I don't gotta wait on the politicians. I don't gotta wait on no therapists. I don't gotta wait on the psychiatrist. Like I don't gotta wait on the youth. I mean, I don't gotta wait up on the leaders up in the community. I can start with myself. You feel me? I can look at the man in the mirror, change that person, and then once I saw myself changing for the better, it was like I knew my outside world can change. You feel me? Once I saw myself change, once I saw these new and better possibilities, I wanted to share with the world. I wanted to share with my homies, especially because they ain't really had no hope for the future. They ain't really have they ain't had this insight that I had, and I saw how they was living. So I'm like, I want to share this with them, and if I see them change, I want to share with everybody. You feel me? So that's how I started the road. You feel me? Just to share that insight that I got.
That's awesome, and I've loved sort of, you know, I always feel like the little video clips that go up and stuff just give me a little hint of crazy, and probably one of the most important questions, I'll get it out of the way, is how do you feel about Eric's poetry? Like, you know, how is he doing? Like with the slam? But I mean, you know,
I say he got some bars, man. He got it. He got it.
That is the best question.
He got it. I'll give it to bro. Hands down. He got it.
All right. High praise. I'm going to bring Prince in, and hopefully, Prince, can you hear us?
Yeah, my boy.
No. Yes, I can hear you.
All right, fantastic. So I don't know if you could hear some of that, but we're just kind of grabbing people's stories about how they got involved in this. How did you come to it?
I came to get involved by going to one of the retreats that Adic and Mara did when in the schools in the neighborhood. My mom had been inviting me for a while, but I wasn't really interested just due to my past interests and things that I was already into. So at the time, I finally went with her and just got to really listen to them about resilience and different ways of understanding that a lot of stuff that you deal with or a lot of stuff that you think is affecting you comes from you.
Yeah.
And like I just started to connect with a lot of the different things. And then really one thing that really got me engaged with them was like one of the exercises we did, basically just really listening to people, like by like allowing somebody else to speak for amount of time while you just listen. And like that was the first time like in my life, because I'm a talker even like all the time, and that's why I had to realize even in that. So then after that, that was just a start for me to be able to build more relationships with my family and have like a better, like just a positive and more understanding relationship with everything that's going on. Honey, what are you doing? So yeah. And from there, I wanted to get more involved. So then I got into the internship that they was having that summer. And then after that, we just hit it off, me and bro. Started thinking about more ideas, how I could be more engaged, how we could do more stuff in Chicago. And we've been working ever since.
Really cool. Now, Cambria, when did you just came into this most recently, right? You just came in the last year?
So yeah, I came in on the internship the same year that Patrick came in. And yeah, just through this past year have gotten re-involved with them after the internship and continued my time with One Solution this summer.
Right. And what drew you? Like, what was the pull initially?
Yeah, so I would say the pull comes a little bit from my background. So just a little bit about why the name Rebels for Peace stood out to me and why One Solution stood out to me in general was I come from a Palestinian Arab background. So my dad is an immigrant from Jerusalem to Palestinian Arab parents. And then my mom is American. I grew up in a very like wealthy area, but my family was always very low income. And just with various experiences throughout my life, such as those, I kind of experienced a lot of conversations about conflict and war on a large scale, but also small scale within the home, things like that. And so it was kind of just a constant part of my life to talk about conflict. So when I saw this title online for a job opening, Rebels for Peace, I was like, that's so interesting, like you're rebelling against this idea of conflict, which in my life was so a part of my norm that I was just really attracted to that title, Rebels for Peace. So I applied for the internship, got going with that, and I learned, all these things that Patrick, Dejan, and Adic have been talking about, and that I know you talk about too, which is how we have that ability to find the peace like within ourselves and how we can use that to change the world around us. And I think that was the flip for me too, was like, this isn't just like making people feel better. This is actually like changing the world around us. So that's why I was so attracted to come back and work for One Solution this summer after the internship last summer. Sorry for the ramble.
No. I invited the ramble. It's just what I wanted to pick up on from it is that notion, which I think is at the heart of what you guys are all up to, is that peace is not inaction. Peace is action. Peace is the source of effective action. And I don't know if you guys might have to do like self-unmuting and muting to speak, but I'd love to hear how for you the relationship between feeling better and doing better showed up. Because for most people, they think if you're not angry, you're not paying attention, right? There's an old Bertolt Brecht quote, "He who laughs has not yet heard the terrible news," right? You got to be miserable if you want to change things. And y'all aren't miserable enough. How are you going to change anything? Like, what is that about?
Okay, so I would say for me, feeling better. The way beef. Before I go on, I want to give a special shout out to my wonderful teacher, with my old teacher, Miss Shorts. Thank you for watching. Okay, now I'm going for my answer. Okay, so for me, feeling better, doing better. So back then, you feel me? I used to feel. I wouldn't say that I felt bad, but I wasn't at where I am now. So I saw the world through those lenses. You feel me? What I seen up in my mindset was how I saw the world. So I wasn't say that. Well, I wouldn't say that I was angry, but I wasn't. You feel me? Happy. So I seen all the negativity, and that's what shaped everything. Like when I see my homies, I would just see gang bangers. I would see just people outside just doing bad things. I would just see us at that level. I wouldn't see us at a higher level than where we at right now. I would think of us as more of a statistic that we're gonna be outside every day, gang banging, selling drugs, working that 9 to 5 jobs. That was my mindset, and that's how like I saw the world. But when I shifted it, it was like I, I seen myself do better, but I seen the potential in other people too. So that's why I really do it, you feel, because I see the potential in them. Now I don't see the gang bangers or the drug dealers. I see some scholars. I see some musicians. I see some artists, some drawers, some dirt bike riders. I see a lot of different things in them now that I didn't see when I had that more lower mindset in a way.
Well, what I'm hearing is you saw them instead
Mm-hmm.
of just seeing that one little thing, one little piece of them.
Just seeing them, you feel me? Just seeing them as them in a way.
Yeah.
And that's what just sparked everything, you feel me? And I wanted to bring that side out of everybody. Like I said, they ain't really had no hope. We ain't really had no hope. And now once I understood my mindset and I understood how everything worked, I wouldn't say that I'm a pro at it, but I'm getting there, you feel me? I see things differently. I see the world up in a bigger and a broader perspective now than I used to see it. And I want my homies, my family members, the city of Chicago, even the world to understand this ability. You feel that we don't have to look at the world from just this point of view. You feel we can see the world from many different points of view. You feel me? That's what I want to show people. And just like we can really produce more than what we um producing in a way. You feel? Because a lot of people they limit themselves because they see roadblocks, they see all these distractions and all these problems. And like once they realize the difference from created problems and real problems, everybody be doing better. Everybody be doing bigger and better things because they don't see all those limitations and those roadblocks. That's what I'm doing is basically just open up their mindset to these new things.
So, like when you must have gotten some crap from friends going, come on, how are you not upset about this? How are you not, what's happened to you, man? How did you deal with that? Because there had to be pushback.
I wouldn't have said I had pushback because it's like when you feel me, you get respect. You feel me? Because I was like I was never the terrible kid and I was never the good kid. You feel me? I was always in between. You feel me? Because I didn't really know my route. I just did what I seen. You feel me? But like when I started being my true self, like feel me, I ain't really changed. I just elevated my mindset in a way. I just see the world, but like, I'm the same person. I just changed my mindset. So it's like I don't like when they get mad at stuff. I'm the person that's gonna get everybody calmed down. I'm the person that's gonna put everybody back up on the right track, so they won't hurt themselves or harm the next person. And you feel me? And I be real with everything. You feel me? I don't sugarcoat. I don't try to put on no other image. You feel me? I speak real, so they can like relate to that and they gonna respect that. So I ain't really had like really pushback. Like I had some people that like didn't really see the vision that I seen, but as I kept embodying what I was preaching, people slowly drew in. They were like, dang, Dejan really doing this. He really showing us different this and all this stuff like that. And that's when they started coming around. You feel me? It wasn't like they was pushing me back, but they didn't see the vision that I seen until I was being the person that I was preaching about.
Well, see, what I love about this whole understanding the mind that you guys are all talking about and that I teach in my work is like it. I thought that in order to experience life, that I was going to need to start dressing in flowing robes and leave my head and and oh yes, I know that Black Lives Matter, but gosh, isn't it beautiful? And it's like it actually. What I love is that this is as real as it gets. We're actually going, stop the bullshit in your head and get real, not stop, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd love for any of you to talk about that shift again from that idea that somehow peace and passive go together as opposed to peace and power, peace and passion, peace and purpose.
I can share something and then
Great.
maybe other one add. Well, I would say I've gone from being like an extremely externally active, like really addicted to fulfilling myself through doing a bunch of stuff, basically. And then somehow I heard this conversation and I got the idea that I got to be quiet and I should stop doing all that, because inner peace means not doing anything. It has this passive feeling, this notion of if my mind's quiet equals passivity. Yeah. It means that I'm passive, that I'm not really an active participant. And I think that took me a while to see that actually when my mind got less noise, it actually fills up this like energy, and I can actually do a lot more without it draining me. It's like I got access to a different type of energy that didn't drain me. And I got way more active because there was a flow. It was like an idea and then I could do it. And it was a flow, but it came not as much from me from working to try to be active, because that was tiring. And we see this, you know, Chicago has a huge, amazing activism history. Like there's some amazing activists here. There's some amazing people that are doing a lot of great things. But, and I've done this myself, when I do that too much with that tense, active, doing things, fighting, you get so tired and overwhelmed and angry because it's not working, and you get stuck in a way. And I think I needed to see for myself that like that is not sustainable. I can only do that for short bursts. But if I want to live my life and really sustainably for the next 40 years do stuff, I got to really let that go and let a different kind of energy move the needle and fill myself with peace while still not accepting things as they are, but being more at peace with it so I can actually do something, if that makes sense. Whereas before I was just angry, but I wasn't really able to do something because I was so filled with, we got to change this, we got it. But I didn't have any ideas because I was
and that's
so
all the more
upset
frustrating because you feel all that, but you don't. So Prince, you look like you were about to come on. For you, like what? When you see what's going on in and I know Chicago has got a lot going on in and of Chicago, but you kind of look at the bigger picture of what's going on around the country, and then you look around I mean, like, I don't know if you guys heard, there's a pandemic going on right now, which kind of messes with that. But like, what for you? Where do you go to kind of stay in this mindset so that you don't just get carried away with the news and the latest reports and the latest shootings and like how do you keep your shit together in the midst of it all?
Like staying active, really just trying to find different ways that I could be of assistance. Like I know now that I'm more aware of like just the city and everything that's going on, that it never stops. Like, cause now I was having conversations with older people and I'm like, oh, the Chicago's so bad. And they're like, well, if you think Chicago bad now, go look up how it was in the 70s or in the 60s. So it's not really like Chicago bad, or is that it's so much going on, but it is. Not saying that it's not, because it is, but it's just we are now just of age to where it's affecting us and to where like we're more aware of what's actually going on. But this is the same thing that's been going on since we've been in rural and urban communities. I'm on a call, so now it's like, now that I know that, I could be like more at peace, or like just more understanding to it, because I know that it's not really what it is. It's just like it's been concentrated, and it's been so many different things that it made it this way. So I really just do a lot of research. I try to figure out why stuff is going on, like why certain things is happening, and that drains you out too. So that's why I try to really just focus on the solution now at this point. And basically the solution is just being the change that we want to see, and providing opportunities for the youth, and just being that outlet.
Brilliant. Cambria, let me ask you a sort of a variation on the theme in a way, which is like, you might have to unmute yourself. I'd try and unmute you, but it's not working. But what is it about this idea that we're the change, that if we want to see this change, it starts with our own peace. It starts with our own freedom of mind. It starts with our own seeing. Like, when you're dealing with other young people, how open do they seem to that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's not a question of how open, but like the youth today, and I mean, I'm hesitant to say more than ever before, but it feels that way, are so hungry and ready for change. And that's so evident in the Rebels for Peace program. And I'm sure Dejan and Patrick and Ada can talk about that too. Is like the youth nowadays want to see change and they're ready for it. And the biggest part that I think differentiates it is that they want to be a part of that change. So the nuance that we try to like emphasize through that work is that when we see like a really large scale issue or a large scale problem, it's not like, hey, look at that problem, and that it's so distant and that you can't really reach it there as much as you try, like you can't really get to it. But it's realizing that at some point in time, like that issue came from humans, and then somewhere along the way, like we created that issue. So it's kind of like taking back ownership of it, and not in a way that feels like a burden, but in a way that feels like a responsibility.
Well,
and I think that,
I just what I'm hearing in there is like, wait, the problem is humans? Wait a minute, I'm a human.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah. And not even that the youth are like I think the youth are the solutions of today. They're not the solutions of tomorrow. People always say, well, we're raising the next generation, stuff like that. But it's like, I think that when you ask the question about youth, like how are they ready for change and things like that, it's that they're ready today and they are going to be a part of the solution today. So, but yeah, exactly. It's like realizing like, wait, we're humans. I'm connected to that issue just as much as my neighbor is,
Yeah, no, there's an old cartoon I remember of a mountain climber, and he's roped up, and the guy ahead of him falls, and so they're all roped up together, and he's falling past him, and he goes, "Man, is he in trouble?" And it's just like, you just know, like 1 second now, he's up the mountain too, and you start to see how connected we are, and you start to see how much actually it matters that I got a grip before I worry too much about everybody else's grip.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm getting snaps. For those of you on the podcast, I'm getting snaps from Dejan and Prince right now, which I'm feeling very good about. Eric, this is a blatant fundraiser, like I'm not even pretending. I want to make a comment on that, and then I want to ask you to explain what people's donations will mean to Rebels for Peace, will mean to the One Solution. So often, like, fundraisers are done by showing you just how shit everything is. It's like, oh, look at this poor rabbit who's about to be killed. Look at this poor kid who's about to die of malnutrition. Look at the and what I love about what you guys do, and I guess it's in the name One Solution and Rebels for Peace, is you're going, hey, look how good this could get. Look how possible this is. Look how people just like you are able to turn things around on the inside and then begin to turn things around on the outside. So I'd love if you could speak to what, like, if I can give you $5, if I can give you $5,000, what does it do? What does it allow you guys to do?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that, and also for giving us the opportunity to talk about that. That's amazing. I think one of the things that I noticed that's based on what you said is that when people come, whether they're kids coming to do the podcast with Dejan and Patrick, or on a call, or we're meeting them, one of the consistent things that we get is that there's a really nice vibe and that everyone enjoys it and it's not hopeful. And at first, we got a lot of advice of like, you got to show the problem, you got to make it really dark, and then, you know, be the solution that compares to this horrible thing. But every time we did that, it felt a little icky. It felt a little bit like, that's not really what we see in people. That's not really what we see in youth. We don't see a bunch of people who are like, we see a different thing. So we're like, well, let's just go all in on that and try to show those things and highlight those things and have more of a hopeful thing, which is why we can stay hopeful and people feel that hopefulness. So we really try to highlight what is already there and the solutions that are possible inside all of us. So I just wanted to comment on that because that's the basis of it. So what is going to go towards is, like, we started very early on adopting the word jetpack, and it has, you know, several meanings. So we like the visual of putting a jetpack on someone, and that jetpack for us is basically opening up the door to what's already inside of them, showing something that's already inside of them, and seeing what happens. So when that happens with a lot of the young kids, they'll get, first of all, like a sense of relief. They get filled with energy and they want to do stuff. So they start to create, you know, videos, documentaries, art. They start working in their community, start to do all this stuff, and they feel hopeful. So that jetpack is something that shifts. That shifts a trajectory in their life, that pivots them ever so slightly or ever so big, that changes their life, and it ripples to the people around them. So they change, their families change, the people are drawn to do a lot of community work, that changes. They create change. So all our strategies around creating a ripple effect. So supporting young leaders, supporting leaders that are in families, supporting parents that are in parents that can be leaders. So we have a big focus on providing jetpacks so people can find some kind of inner leadership to then create change in whatever is important to them. So we as an organization don't see us doing everything. We see more of opening up doors so people can make the changes that are relevant to them.
Well, and it sounds like Rebels for Peace is a great example of that, where that's something that Dejan launched from what he saw in himself from the work that he did with you.
Exactly. And that's what we want to basically inject more power to. It's like awakening that, you know, 20 more Dejans and Prince and Cambrias that go on to do their own things and create change in that sustainable way. That's where we really wanted to go to, like to wake up that part and see what's going to happen. Because we know our ideas are so limited. Like, we are limited by the amount of minds on this call. And in order to create change, we need some new minds to take it places that we are not able to imagine. So we have to create the space for that imagination to roam free in a way that we can't. And that's the only way to scale, is to look towards the minds of other people and see what they can do, because we haven't been able to do it.
Well, no, but I mean, the fundamental model, it's, you know, my company's called Genius Catalyst because, you know, what I've seen is, hey, if I can spark the genius in somebody, they'll go out and do things with that. And it's almost like, it seems to me that the work you guys are all doing in your own ways is sparking that in other people. And then when they catch fire, nurturing it till it can kind of take on a life of its own.
Yes.
Supporting it, making sure it's got enough oxygen so that it can actually start to burn. And then once a fire is roaring, like, it'll take its own path. It will light the way, but it starts with the spark. It's got to start with that. And that's what I see. That's what I've seen you guys doing from day one.
Yes. Well, I appreciate that.
This is, I'm open to hearing from any on this, but what I'd love to hear is, we're kind of getting towards the end of time. I'd love to hear your thoughts about, like, either, you have a choice. Okay, 2 questions. So either, like, what's your vision for a future where people have woken up to this? Like, what would you like to see in terms of that? And or like if you could just share one idea with somebody who's listening, who's going, okay, this sounds cool. Like they're open, but they don't know what they're open to. What would be the one thing that you think would be the most powerful thing if they could see it, that would light that spark in them, that would light that fire in them?
Oh, so can
Yeah,
I
go for it, Dejan.
So I'm gonna pick both of them. So for the first question, okay, if everybody see this, I think I would see a lot of different creative things in the world. And with my mindset, I like to think like outer space type situation. I think of some stuff like if everybody see this, you feel me, and like the youth, that everybody like really understand it. I won't be shocked that we see like the flying cars, we see the teleports, if we see world peace, if we see everything that we imagine, you feel me, going out of space on a bike, you feel me, flying, moving things from one side of the room to the next side of the room. I got those type of possibilities in my head because it just feels so good, you feel me? Because like I said earlier,
Ooh, I think we
got
go there.
all this power at me, you feel me? Like realize all that power, they gonna want to spread it out into the world, you feel me? And like once that get out there, it's amazing like what type of things is gonna come out of their mindset. Cause you feel me? I don't know. I just it's just real interesting just to see what everybody gonna come up with. If I don't know, it's just I don't know. It just filled with power, and you let the power out like a superhero, basically. And then for my second answer, what I would say to people is just if you open to it, like, and you need that extra push, you feel me? Just think of yourself as the superhero you.
Yeah.
You feel me? That's the possibility. Think of yourself as the superhero version of yourself. And whatever qualities, whatever desires, whatever insights that your superhero you have, you're gonna have if you understand this. To like, if you start to understand that the man works, that's gonna be you at your super self, the super mom, the super son, the super dad, the super brother, super whatever. You're just gonna be the super you once you understand all this and really put these into effect in your daily lives. You can really be your
Awesome.
super self. So that's how I feel.
Awesome. Well, we got to whip around the room on this. Prince, what do you got?
All right. Well, I say less violence in Chicago. That's gonna be one thing that's definitely gonna change because that energy will be going to something positive. So I really feel like just really what we trying to do is just offer more opportunities and more us being able to talk to people and be in the community and be involved. We've been talking about like getting a center. So that way we could be able to do more in the community. We also need to just be focusing on the youth. Really, I'm not disclosing anything else, but we mainly been focusing on the youth and just trying to get more students out of trouble and into positive things. Trying to just really see what we could do to just be of assistance to where they don't have to be violent or feel like the block or the streets is the only options that they have. So that's really what I want to see come from the change and stuff that we working on. And any advice to somebody that's like questioning or got like any concerns about what we talking about would mainly probably be like, I would say, just really like if you ever feel some type of way about something, and like have you ever gave that particular thing power to your emotions to just think about why that particular thing affects you that way. So say for instance, like if you don't have no money and you feel more down or you feel more happy when you do have money, to just question like why does the money have that effect on you, or anything. It could be food, family, a car. It just depends on the particular situation, but just the question like why something else has an effect on how you feel. And yeah.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Cambria, I was looking for what superhero name to call you by. I was thinking Super Cambria, but then I was thinking Captain Cambria. I think it sounds a little silly, but you make up your own. But how about you?
Yes, thank you. I'll have to think about that and get back to you on what my superhero name will be. But I would say my vision of what the world would look like if everyone kind of adopted this mentality would just be just kind of a final end to us versus them thinking. Just kind of like this constant mindset that people have of like us versus them or othering or detaching yourself from a separate person's issue. I think it would just be the end of that. And I think that would start a lot of really, really large scale systemic change. And hopefully we go in that direction. I think if we're all actively working the way we are, like at One Solution, then I think it's possible. And then, yeah, I think that would be the biggest thing. My advice or one thing I would say to someone listening is like, just keep pushing your potential, that it's unlimited. And the other advice I would give would be to follow us on social media and keep up with us and check our website out and stuff.
Absolutely.
But
we've got
that's
links.
the other
we'll have
one.
links that go with this for everything.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Great. Yeah.
And what are we going to give Eric as a superhero? What, the amazing Eric? What are we going to do? What are we going to call him? I don't know. What's your superhero name, Eric?
I don't know of a superhero name. I got to go with the Viking.
That seems fair.
I think what excites me about this is what we don't see. Like what I don't see is what excites me about the future. Is it feels like this deeper connection to something that has always been true. I see that happening. I feel that we feel more in tune and not so distracted by everything and distracted by the noise. And I also hope that we will see stuff that we can't even imagine now, and that we will look at what we're talking about now and say like, oh, we actually didn't have a clue. And see that it actually has both evolved into something amazing, but also going back to the source. Like that's my vision, that some of it we'll be able to see and other things is just too big for an organization or for people to understand. So I hope it grows beyond an organization and it's something that just happens in nature. And we get those two things at the same time, this closeness to something that is more true, whatever that means, and seeing something that we can't imagine in our little human mind right now.
So I want to kind of finish by just, again, making a very direct, it's not a plea. It's just sort of like an invitation. I know something that we started doing when our kids were little was we'd give them all some money at the end of the year to give away. We say, go find a place where this money will make a difference. Because we wanted to foster that mindset that money is not a bad thing. Money is not a good thing. It just depends what you do with it. And if you use it for good, it can be an incredible force for facilitating good. And the interesting thing was that it was harder than you'd think to find a place where it really felt like, hey, this is going to matter. And the reason that I'm doing this, that I volunteered to do this. You guys didn't even ask me to do this. In fact, I might be bothering you right now. I don't know. But it's like the reason I wanted you all on is because you what you are up to my mind, is one of the places where money can do the most good, where it's going to make the biggest difference, because it isn't just, throwing money at a problem and going, well, I don't know, maybe that'll help. It's like literally, no, this is the conversation that changes the game. And the game we're in is a game nobody's winning. But if we can change the game to a game where each of us is individually raising our level, raising our game, finding a better way, living that superhero life, then nothing but good is going to come from it. And I'm not saying I know exactly what that's going to look like, but I know that that's the foundation of whatever it is. So please, 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 anything you can give is going to make a difference. The links for giving are on the page. You can find them there. You can also go to onesolutionglobal.org.
Yes.
And rebelsforpeace.org.
Yes.
How am I doing? Okay. Listen, guys, it has been an absolute delight. Thank you so much for coming on. And for everyone listening, I hope it helps. I'm pretty sure it didn't hurt. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.